Hello, Mount Riders and Blade Swingers. This is going to be my last video before a very long break, or even a total stop, of me creating YouTube videos. Because, real life never stops. Real life continues, so does my university career. I'm now in my master, I have a lot to study. And I need some time for family, friends, my girlfriend, my reenactment hobby, my dancing hobby. Reading some good books, all this stuff that I tended to ignore a bit in the last months. So, that's gonna be a goodbye now. I hope you will enjoy this video of mine. Our view on women in the European Middle Ages has been very biased. Since the 19th century, we declared common women to be housewives and almost slaves to degenerate, brutish men, or we romanticized noble women, seeing them as damsels in distress, saved by noble knights in shining armor, mixing fairy tales and some outdated moral ideals of purity and infantile naivety with each other. But that's just us projecting our ideas on the past. What do actual medieval paintings suggest? How was the medieval view on noble women? Are the women shown there only damsels in distress, cheering for their noble platonic lovers? Some are, as you can see, but others are not. She, for example, interferes with a knight in a tournament. Have you ever grabbed a lance from a mounted horseman? That's very hard to do. It needs focus, physical force, and lots of willpower. Or look at this picture. Here we see several noble women. One is holding a sword, and on the right one is wearing an armor. Of course, this picture is highly symbolic, very allegoric, but it proves that women wearing weapons and other quote-unquote manly instruments of war and power was at least thinkable in the Middle Ages. The Mount and Blade series, and most currently the TV show Vikings and similar TV shows, despite their many inaccuracies, depict this dualism of noble damsels in distress and noble, powerful women pretty well. Have a look at some exceptional women in Warband and Bannerlord and how the player interacts with them. Keep in mind that all these women in those video games are clearly queens and daughters to noble men. They are very exceptional individuals, often with very individual backstories that justify them traveling the world and fighting, or searching for a husband. About the Arabian Middle Ages, I have to mention that there were some sultanas or queens or whatever you want to call them, noble women with power, like there were in the European Middle Ages. Of course, these are exceptional individuals, but they still existed, which means that it was not totally unthinkable of a noble woman to be more than a damsel. And we should drastically change this weird damsel fetish we have in our pop culture and focus more on those exceptional women and the dualism between their role as a housekeeper, a noble housekeeper of course, but a housekeeper nonetheless, a politician, and maybe even warlord or war mistress in this case, or war lady. War lady, let's stick with war lady. And what about common women? Were they slaves to their brutish, degenerate husbands? There is at least some visual evidence that they were not, but worked alongside their husbands instead of being their slaves. There's also some evidence that they participated in battles. Let's think about the farmer's girl Jeanne d'Arc. Here I found one of the few, if not the only, historical drawing of her, by the way. She is depicted with weapons and a very interesting skirt. Could be a male skirt, I'm not sure about it. Or what about the less known Jean Hachette? I mean, look at this badass person hacking and slashing her way with an axe while a siege is going on. And what about Walpurgis, a woman from southern Germany where I'm from, who probably lived around the 13th, around 1300. She clearly duels a man with buckler and sword. It is suggested that she's his student and he is a Fechtmeister, a master of historical European martial arts, a master of self-defense. So he and she are clearly commoners, although he could be, of course, a monk. Then we have these interesting scenes of women fighting armored men in duel. She wears a shield, a sword, fights a man in mail. Of course, both wear helmets. And in some pictures, you can see that she's actually wearing a mail too under her dress. So she's actually armored like a man, dressed like a man, and the only thing that's different is her surcoat and the veil she wears on her head. This does not at all fit the narrative of slaves of degenerate men, does it? So, what do pop culture and video games suggest? Oh, by the way, we also have women fighting women. So, what do video games suggest? Are they close in their representation to commoners? Well, the Mount & Blade series kind of is and kind of not. She is more or less dressed like Jeanne d'Arc and Jean Hachette. This is approved. She wears a chainmail shirt and, well, quite gender-neutral clothing. If you compare this and have a close look to actual medieval paintings, there are similarities. Even the colors she wears are quite similar. Only that in the video game she wears the chainmail over her dress, instead vice versa. And here we have a woman in full plate armor wearing a helmet. The helmet is on point. The full plate armor, not so much. I've never seen a medieval painting of a woman wearing full plate armor. I've seen Renaissance and early modern era paintings and portraits of some women wearing such an armor, but never medieval. So, Mount & Blade is closer than I might have suspected to reality. Bye.